Hey, Money Magnets, I'm your host, Dr. Amanda, and if you're a coach, entrepreneur, or service-based business owner, you're in the right place to learn practical, actionable law of attraction strategies that will help you grow yourself to grow your business. And in this episode, you're going to get 5 inspirational quotes to help you up-level your life and business. First, I want to talk about how I'm back from my anniversary trip with my honey, Abe. We had such a spectacular time. We went to Yellowstone and Glacier and the Grand Tetons. We are National Parks geeks and we're filling up our stamp book. Shout out to all the National Parks geeks out there. And we had just a wonderful time road tripping, listening to podcasts, talking, hiking, playing cards, drinking some tequila, having fun, just relaxing and letting go. I didn't bring my computer and I completely unplugged. And I want to remind all of you how important it is to do this every once in a while, to let go of your rhythm, your routine, and really unwind and see life from a different perspective. Something I really love about travel is that you see life from a different perspective. You break up your normal routines so that you can see things outside of what your routine is. For many of us, we have really powerful routines. As business owners, we must. And when you break outside of your routine, it gives you the opportunity to see what's working and what's not. I always think of this in my inner power formula way, where you recognize, reframe, repeat to reprogram. So for me, when I'm on a vacation, I'm recognizing what's working and what's not working in my daily routines because I'm getting to unplug from it and reframe, and then I can come back refreshed and do new things. And so this is really important for all of us. So I just want to remind you of that. Are you taking enough breaks, enough vacation time, or are you always working? And even when you're on vacation, are you working? I used to have a really hard time going on vacation and unplugging, and now it's so easy for me. And it took some training to do that. And, some of that I also think is stage of business. If you're in a startup, then it's easy not to take breaks because of the momentum you have going and you don't want to miss out and you have that fear of missing out. Yet remember, even if you're taking a 2-day break on the weekends, make sure you do it. Say you schedule a 4-day trip instead of a 10-day trip or a 2-week trip. That's fine. Just make sure that you are taking breaks, celebrating yourself, and taking good care of yourself so that you can stay inspired and so that you can really celebrate yourself and your wins along the way. Interestingly, in episode 352, if you haven't listened to it yet, be sure to go back to it after this one and listen to episode 352. I talk about 3 self-care strategies that lead to client attraction and money magnetism. And one of the strategies I talk about is going on vacations to take care of yourself so that you're more magnetic. And vacations and breaks really have the power to do this because you raise your vibrational frequency when you relax. When you're stressed out, you're pushing money and opportunities away. So pay attention to how you are taking care of yourself and taking breaks to celebrate yourself in your business so that you can be more high vibe and magnetic to opportunities and money and clients and joy in your life and business. Okay, let's get to today's topic. 5 inspirational quotes to help you uplevel your life and business. Now, this was very challenging for me because I love quotes. I have hundreds of quotes written down, and I'm going to teach you a strategy about how to use quotes in a way to keep you inspired and the system that I use. But I chose 5, and these are the 5 that I use very regularly when I'm working with clients and to remind myself how to stay aligned. So these were the top 5. Let's start with number 1 by Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I still remember the first time I heard this quote. It was like a mic drop moment for me, and I was mind blown, and I thought that is so wise and true, and it really powerfully relates to how the law of attraction works. And I didn't think that at the time because I wasn't yet invested in the law of attraction and didn't know enough about it, but I look back and I think, wow, that's the connecting piece there. Until you make the unconscious conscious, you're going to keep repeating patterns over and over and over again because you keep repeating the lessons you haven't learned. You repeat the lessons you haven't learned. learned. And the reason is because you haven't made them conscious yet. They are unconscious patterns that are stuck in your system. And then because of confirmation bias, when the thing happens that you believe to be true happens, you say, see, this is the way life is, because you have an unconscious bias toward that thing happening. And that's really how the law of attraction works. Whatever you believe to be true in your conscious and subconscious mind are going to be attracted to you. So until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So it will make your life continue to repeat and you will say, this is the way that it is. Yet another person has a completely different reality than you. Why? Because they don't believe the same things. They don't have the same experiences. And so they're not reinforcing and revalidating that story over and over and over again. And so it's critical for us to learn how to make the unconscious conscious. And this is really my inner power formula. Recognize, reframe, repeat to reprogram. So when you recognize, you are making the unconscious conscious, right? You're slowing down enough and getting present enough to understand what it is that you believe. You are becoming a inner self master by being present, by asking yourself, what do I believe to be true? Why are these patterns happening in my life and business? What do I believe about money? And what do I believe about owning a business or being an entrepreneur? You're making the unconscious conscious by asking yourself these questions and diving into yourself. You are a puzzle, a very complex puzzle that started to get created when you were really even in utero. Even we have intergenerational beliefs that are transmitted into our DNA. And so that's our subconscious. The beliefs that we hold are starting to be programmed into us when we're very young by what we see, what we hear, what we watch. And none of this is things that you can't change because you are a powerful being and your thoughts create your reality. You can even change your DNA. You can change your genetic outcomes. There's a whole field of discipline called epigenetics that studies this, where your environment impacts your genetics. So until you make the unconscious conscious, you're going to keep getting the same outcomes. This could play out by you saying, well, my parents suffer from this disease, so I'm going to too. If you believe that to be true, that's your unconscious or even maybe your conscious telling you that that's going to be the case. It will happen. If instead you make the unconscious conscious and you say, you know what, people have healed themselves from all kinds of things, and you start to think and act and be in different ways, it's possible for you to change your genetic predispositions. This is the same with your money programming and the way that you feel about relationships and all of the outcomes you're getting in your life. If you don't get conscious, you're going to keep repeating the same things over and over and over, and you will think that that's just the way it is. So until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So the best thing you can do here is recognize and then reframe your belief system and your emotions around it and your subconscious beliefs so that you can get different results. So that's the repeat to reprogram. Now, it's critical to know that you can only reprogram your subconscious mind through repetition or hypnosis. And hypnosis can happen through meditation. You can see a hypnotherapist, or you can repeat to reprogram your subconscious mind. You will know that you've reprogrammed your subconscious mind when you start getting different results, because now you've learned the lesson. So remember, I said you keep repeating the lessons you haven't learned. You'll know that you've changed when you start getting different results, because you don't need to repeat those lessons anymore, because you've now made them conscious and you've reframed them through repetition. So that's the simplest way. Let me give you a really actionable, easy way to do this. So let's say you're not happy about how many clients or customers you're attracting in your business right now. Now you're going to start to get conscious. What do I believe about business building? Who am I working with? Am I attracting the right people? What are the repeated patterns that people say when they work with me? And how am I going to turn that into magnetism? And you start questioning yourself and noticing patterns, and you start looking for systems to improve your business. Now that's the reframes. So in your reframes, you're thinking, I haven't been focused on the things that actually move the needle forward. I haven't been doing the right activities to make the money. So I'm going to focus for the next month on just doing the activities that bring me money so that I can attract more clients and customers more easily. And you start laser focusing on cutting out the inessentials, not doing busy work, and instead focusing on the things that bring you new business. And you just focus on that. That's reframing, and you're repeating throughout the month. And now you notice my business is growing. And so you've repeated to reprogram your outcomes. So recognize, reframe, repeat to reprogram. Carl Jung really influenced me. When I heard that, I thought, that is exactly it. You've got to reprogram your unconscious or subconscious mind in order to get different results. So it's so much easier than you think to reprogram yourself. It takes consciousness and it takes choice. That's the hardest part. Most people want to pretend like, oh, I don't know why I'm getting the results I'm getting. And in reality, they're too afraid or they're unwilling to take the necessary actions to reprogram themselves. It's not very hard. It just takes focused, committed energy and actions. And remember, actions are evidence of belief. So when you're taking action in this way, you know that you're ready to reprogram your subconscious mind. And then you'll get results pretty rapidly, actually. Okay, quote number 2. You can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. Abraham Hicks. I love this one so much. You can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. And I want you to think for yourself right now. How often do you wake up miserable or stressed out or dreading the day or overwhelmed by how much you have on your plate and then expecting to get happy results or successful results? I often rephrase this quote to say you can't have a successful ending to a stress-filled journey. And the reason for that is because entrepreneurs can really stress themselves out. Business owners tend to be addicted to stress, and it's almost like they're conditioned to make sure they're always stressed to keep moving forward, because if for some reason they're not stressed, they believe that they won't take any action. And this is the antithesis to having flow and to magnetism in an easy flowing way. So if you want to increase your money magnetism and enjoy your life and business and have the upward spiral growth trajectory where things just keep getting better and better, you got to release the misery. You got to release the stress, and you've got to enjoy every single day. If you're not enjoying today, your future can't be happy. It's exactly what this quote is saying. You can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. And when you read it so clearly, that quote, and you hear it, you go, well, duh, that makes sense. But then when you recognize how often you're stressed out and expecting a happy outcome, you also must realize you need to reframe your energy, because you go, well, crap, I am one of those people who is miserable throughout the day. Maybe on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being you're in a full state of joy, 0 being miserable, you're at a 5 or a 6 or a 7 on a regular basis, but you're expecting a 10 outcome. You can see how that's impossible. That is an impossibility. You can't wake up and be a 5 every day and then want a 10 outcome. That does not match. Those frequencies will never match. And that's what most people try to do. They think, I'm miserable and something in the future is going to make me happy, so I'm going to work really hard and crack the whip on myself all the time. This ties back to what I was talking about when we started, where I said, are you going on vacations? Are you celebrating yourself? Are you taking breaks? If you're not ever doing that and you're expecting yourself to have freedom, those things don't equate. If you never feel free in your current reality, how can you feel free in the future? You can't. It doesn't make sense that would work. So in the harshest way, you got to get real with yourself here. Stop BSing yourself. Stop thinking that a life filled with stress is going to lead to a future of happiness, and change what you're doing starting today. So an easy action step here is to start asking yourself, does this bring me joy? Does this activity I'm doing right now bring me joy? And if it doesn't, how are you going to drop, automate, and delegate, dad your system to get different results? So you got to be thinking, if this doesn't bring me joy, how am I going to dad this? Dr. Amanda said, dad my system to bring myself joy. So drop, automate, delegate. Many of the things that we do in our businesses do not bring us joy because they're out of alignment with our genius. Many of the things we do in our businesses don't bring us joy because they're have-tos. They're things we think we should be doing or that we have to do, which is not true. There are many things that you can drop in your business that are not moving the needle forward, that are actually making you busy and making you miserable. There are some things that you don't enjoy doing. Delegate those or automate them through a system. And so you can't have a happy ending to to a miserable journey is a really powerful tool for you to start to dad your system so that you can increase your daily happiness to lead to your future happiness. If you're happy today, you're going to be happy in the future. If you're happy tomorrow, you're going to be happy in the future. And just always know, however you feel in your current state of being today is the future you're paving the way for right now. And so you can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. You can have an awesome ending to a playful, fun, joy-filled journey. And so reframe toward that in your daily actions and your daily habits, and you'll end up leading an inspired life and business that's magnetic to joy and flow and ease and fun and wealth. And that is the key right there. I love that quote for that reason. It really gives you that guideline. Am I happy right now? If I'm not, you can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. So what am I going to do to reframe my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs, my actions so that I can have the future that I desire, which I would imagine for all of us is a future of freedom and flow, feeling good in our daily lives. Why would we be entrepreneurs other than to create choice? Ultimately, what we want is choice. We want a choice about how much money we make, about how we spend our time, about how many people we help, about how we go on vacations, what kind of houses we buy, how we do our daily lives. That's the freedom of entrepreneurship. You get to design your lifestyle. You get to design who you work with. You get to design the level of impact you make. And so it starts with you today deciding I'm going to take each step in a joy-filled way so that my future is joy-filled. And then it always matches. And it just keeps getting better and better and better over time. So always remember, you can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. And if you haven't read any Abraham Hicks, start with the law of attraction. And I actually covered this in my episode number 361, the top 5 money mindset books. I talk about their book there. And so Jerry and Esther Hicks, the law of attraction, they have a great series. And they are really the people who mainstreamed the law of attraction along with The Secret and the movie and the books. So be sure to read their books. They are incredible for keeping you aligned with the law of attraction. Now for quote number 3, if you've been with me, you've heard this one too. As you take a step on the way appears. This one's by Rumi. As you take a step on the way appears. I heard this one first from a dear friend. Shout out to you, Scott. I don't know if you listen to the podcast, but he said this to me and shared this quote. And I thought, wow, I love that quote so much because that is exactly how the law of attraction unfolds in our lives if we are willing to allow and surrender. And what I mean by this is that most people tend to want to force through impatience. So we are impatient, so we push the results. We push forward and we're stressed along the way. Now, if we were willing to take a step and let the next step appear and let the path appear, everything would be a lot easier. So this one is all about surrendering and having a plan while not attaching to the plan. So of course, when we're setting goals, we're going to create a plan of action and we're going to start taking steps along the way to fulfill the plan. And we're going to be willing to let go of the long-term plan that we made so that the path can appear for us. This is tricky. It sounds so easy, but most people struggle with hyper-control and hyper-vigilance around what they think they should do. It's been really wild for me to work with some really high-power entrepreneurs who are making multi-millions and how they can get really stuck in this one where, well, I've got my plan of action and I'm doing it hell or high water and it doesn't feel good. And now this negates the last one we talked about where you say you can't have a happy ending to a miserable journey. So if you're miserable getting to your goal, then you're never going to be happy in the long run. And they come to me because they're stressed out and they want the money-making process to be easier and to feel better. And they want to have better relationships and all the things that really cause us to be that holistic wealth picture where it's not just about making money. You can push and torture yourself into being a highly financially successful person or a highly successful person in whatever area you're laser focused on. Are you joy-filled in that? Most of the reason that people aren't is because they're not doing what I'm talking about here. As you take a step on the way appears. Trust in the universal consciousness to show you the way, to make it easier, to manifest flow into your life. You've got to be flowing. And so what that means is that you've got to surrender and allow. You've got to open up to the possibility that it could be really easy if you didn't think you needed to know all the answers. So typically when I talk about this quote, I say, you don't need to know step A to Z. You just need to know steps A to B. Maybe A, B, and C, and you start there. That's your first steps as you take a step on the way appears. So you take step A to B. And then C shows up for you without you having to do any work at all because you are clear about where you want to go, but you're willing to let the answers, the solutions, the resources, the teachers, the mentors, the money, the clients and customers show up for you, and then you take the next step on the way. Now, when you are able to do this, this is really the most powerful version of manifestation. And the reason for that is because you are allowing through a high vibrational frequency of joy and trust in the flow of infinite intelligence and God grand organized design to bring you the next solution to match the desired aim. Okay. And what I mean by that is you set a goal, you see it clearly in your mind. So when we manifest, we know and decide with clarity and certainty what we want. We take a step on the way appears, right? And the universe brings it to you. That's the manifestation formula. So in this, if you're going, I know exactly what I want. I can see it so clearly. I can feel it in my soul, in my emotions, in my being. I trust that it's going to happen. Now I'm just going to take the next step and then I'm going to see what comes my way. That's way better than I could have ever planned for to fulfill my vision. And that's what this quote is all about. So as you take a step on the way appears. And you could just write this one in your journal or, somewhere in your office on a board that says, as I take a step on the way appears. I trust and allow that my steps will show me the way. I only need to take one step at a time and then the way will appear. I know with certainty and I trust the universe to bring me my vision. I trust the universe to bring me the way. I don't need to be in hyper control mode. I enjoy the flow of taking a step on the way and letting the way appear. So it's all about trust, this one, and surrender to infinite intelligence to show you the way. Okay. Number 4, nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. Lao Tzu. Nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. When I say this one, it always brings me so much peace, and I use this one regularly when I get into hurry mode. I'll hear myself saying things even like, I gotta hurry and take a shower. I gotta hurry and go to the bathroom. I gotta hurry and make my lunch. And it's like, in my mind, I'm rushed, and I'm thinking, I gotta hurry so I can get to the next thing. That's when I use this one, when I recognize that I'm in that state, like, oh, slow it down. Nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. And I want you to remind yourself when you're in a state of hurry, there's an underlying stress that you're afraid you can't get it all done. There's an underlying stress that there's not enough time. So it's a scarcity block. And so when you recognize that you're hurrying, know that you are slowing down the outer world results, because the signal you're sending out is a vibrational frequency of stress. So in that scarcity stress state, when you're hurrying, it's like saying to the universe, my plate is very full. I have too much to do. I'm overwhelmed. Don't send me any more opportunities because I can't handle what I already have on my plate. So this one is a great reminder. Nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. And it just reminds you to slow down and that it'll all be accomplished. There's no rush. You are the creator of time. And however you structure your time is the future you're creating right now. So if you're in a hurry and in a stress state, you are miserable and you're leading to an unhappy ending. If you choose to slow down, be conscious, be present, be in a state of joy, you're going to accomplish what you set out to accomplish in a flowing way that feels good. So there's no need to hurry. Hurrying is a scarcity consciousness mindset, a poverty consciousness mindset. So I really want you to question yourself here. Am I in a pattern or a habit of hurrying? Am I in a pattern of feeling overwhelmed? Am I feeling like there's too much going on all the time? How can you slow down your thoughts, slow down your life a little bit to reframe your energy into a state of flow instead of stress and hurry and overwhelm. It's really important. So nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. So just whenever you notice you're rushed, say this to yourself: wait. Take a few deep breaths and just say to yourself, nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. And just see how you feel. It's a really powerful state of being, reframe, when you slow down and say that one to yourself. That is one of my all-time favorite quotes, because I have had a pattern of hurrying and being stressed and being overwhelmed in my history. And I've really reprogrammed myself out of this one, just in the way that I can go on a vacation now and let go of work, let go of my business, let go of all the things, and just be like, hey, yeah, I'm enjoying the moment. And for me, vacation almost always includes nature because I really love nature. So this one comes up for me a lot. In nature, I'm like, oh yeah, look at that amazing, beautiful canyon that was created through nature, one drop of water at a time. Look at this giant tree that grew from one little seedling to this giant, huge, beautiful tree. And there was no hurry. There was no rush. It just kept growing and growing at a very peaceful state. So that's how we want to be. When we aren't in a scarcity mindset, we can be that way. If we're in a poverty consciousness mindset, we think we got to force it. It's like standing over a plant after you plant the seed one day, and one day later you're watering it and you're like, come on, plant, grow. What the heck's wrong with you? It's comical, right? But that's what we do to ourselves. So don't be that person. Reprogram yourself. If you are, it's okay if you have been that person. I get it. I've been there too. Lots of entrepreneurs are this way. Just reprogram yourself. Nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished. Okay, now this last one of my all-time favorite authors. If you haven't read Atomic Habits by James Clear, it's an absolute must-read. Very practical, very actionable, really brilliant writer, so much gold. And the one I'm choosing from this book is: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So he talks a lot about the state of being you need to be in order to really have goals work well. And I don't remember if he says state of being. That's definitely law of attraction style terminology. But he talks about the emotions behind it and you changing who you are at an identity level is how he frames it. And so, you can have goals in your mind. That would be a version of manifestation where you think the thought, I want to accomplish this thing. That's setting a goal. And manifestation is the process of attracting that goal and having it come into material reality. So it's really cool because he doesn't ever in the book talk about law of attraction, but really he's talking about how the law of attraction works by showing that the most successful goals happen, or you have the most success in accomplishing your goals when you are changing your identity, which is your beingness. And he says, it's how you are, who you are, your identity. And so that's the be part of you, like be. That's the beingness of you. That's your state of being. And so when you want to accomplish the goal, change your system of how you are being and then set up systems of success. So it doesn't matter what level of goal you are saying that you choose to create. If you don't have a system to get there, it's going to be incredibly challenging to have it happen because you're going to fall to the level of your systems. Now, I really like this in combination with law of attraction because sometimes I've noticed that law of attraction can cause you to be a little bit airy-fairy, a little bit esoteric, a little bit like ungrounded, let's say. And you go, I want to manifest this thing and it's just going to magically come to me. It doesn't work that way. You've got to take action, take a step on the way, let the way keep appearing, right? That doesn't mean that you don't have a system in place for taking the action. One of the most common things I notice for people who come to me who are interested in the law of attraction, who are often very heart-centered, service-based entrepreneurs who really care about helping the world, they tend to not be business-minded. And in that lack of business-mindedness is what he's talking about here. You have got to have systems because whatever your systems are doing, if they're working or not working, is how you're going to be able to accomplish your goals. So we could determine if you have no systems in place, accomplishing your goals is probably going to be very challenging. And it's because, sure, you can attract things through your thoughts, but remember, I've said over and over, You've got to know with certainty and clarity what you want. That's you setting your goals. Then you take a step on the way. Part of that step is having systems in place to then attract more opportunities to you. So systems look like having a weekly schedule. Being a business owner means that you are not randomly trying to figure out how to build a business. You are measuring your KPIs, your key performance indicators. You're knowing what works and what doesn't. And when you figure out that something doesn't work, you restructure it and you create a different system. Remember, in episode 355, I talk about the 4-step business profitability cycle to grow your business more easily. So episode 355, the 4-step business profitability cycle is to create, test, refine, scale. Create, test, refine, scale. That's a lot of what James Clear is talking about here in this quote. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems because, like I said, create, test, refine, scale. In the create, test, and refine to scale, you're creating a system. If you don't have a system, that's why you're failing in your business. In part, you don't have that system because you are hoping and wishing that success will happen. You've got to be systematic even in how you program your state of being. That's a system. Do you have a daily system to reprogram your energy every day? Are you getting up in the morning and programming your energy system, your mindset to have success? Do you have a morning routine for that? If you don't, then that's why you're not getting good results. That's a big part of it. If you don't have a system to contact clients daily, if you don't have a prospecting system or a lead gen system, how do you think you're going to be successful as a business owner? If you think about the most successful business owners, what do they do to create success? They do what James Clear is talking about here. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. So do you have systems in place? And when you're thinking about systems, you want to be thinking about, like I said, your morning routine to set up your mindset, to stay inspired, to be on that happy end of the journey instead of the miserable end of the journey. Are you taking strategic daily steps to be on the way and letting the way keep coming to you? Are you remembering not to hurry and be rushed and overwhelmed? Systems help you not be overwhelmed because they give you clear indicators about how to move forward. So in many ways, those systems are telling you the next best step to take because they're giving you quantitative feedback. When you have systems in place, you can track numbers. A lot of success is in math, right? It's you measuring statistically what's working and what's not. It gives you very clear and easy ways to know what to do next. It's why, let's say in advertising, they do A/B tests because you test through numbers and math what is working and what's not. It makes it so straightforward. You don't have to guess. It takes away the guesswork. So systems take away the guesswork so that you can accomplish your goals more easily. So make sure that you are implementing a systems mindset into your business ownership so that you can get what you want more easily instead of just setting a goal with no plan of action that you can start taking steps on and refining as you go. So that's what that quote is all about. Okay, so now I want to give you a couple action steps for you to use quotes effectively. One thing I do is I write down all my favorite quotes and I put them in a document and I keep adding to them whenever I hear a quote that inspires me, that impacts me in a way where I go, wow, that's profound. I put it in a document. I just title it quotes. For me, it's just a Google Doc. And then I have it in my bookmarks bar on my Google Chrome so that I can go there easily when I need a quote. Sometimes when I'm with a client, I'll think of a quote. And so all I need to do is go into that doc and just Control F and find a word and then find that quote and then use it. If I can't remember it, some of them I have committed to memory because I use them so frequently, but other ones I'll hear and I'll think, oh my God, that's profound. And so I'll just type in. So I'll give you an example right now. There's one that I love to use a lot. It talks about, rowing the boat. So I type in boat. This is by Kenichi Omei, and he says, rowing harder doesn't help if the boat is going in the wrong direction. Rowing harder doesn't help if the boat is going in the wrong direction. So let's say I can't remember that quote and I'll think, oh, I know it has the word boat in it. I'll go search the word boat and there it is right there for me. And so I've got hundreds of quotes and I do them in alphabetical order. And then whenever I'm feeling disinspired or stuck, or even if I need content, like today's episode, I can go, ooh, what are 5 awesome quotes from my quote sheet? So as a business owner, we are often in the business of inspiring people and first ourselves. So you can use this to inspire yourself or clients that you work with, depending on what type of business you have. Let's say you're in real estate. Maybe you're going to pull up real estate quotes. Maybe you're in finance, pull up financial quotes. If you are a coach, pull up coaching quotes or quotes that are inspiring your people in your specific way of coaching. See, there are a lot of fun ways you can use these. Then when you are writing a book, you pull up some of these quotes. I like to put quotes in on the writing that I do. And so I just go straight to this list that I've already been creating over time. So that's one way to do it. And then especially to use this as a reframe tool, anytime you're feeling uninspired, just go to your quote sheet and read the quotes, and you'll notice an energy shift immediately. Let's play with this one here. I've got James Clear. I've got a whole bunch of quotes from him. He says, "Good habits make time your ally." Good habits make time your ally. He says, "The trajectory of your life bends in the direction of your habits." Ooh, so right there, if I'm feeling uninspired and I read that and I go, the trajectory of your life bends in the direction of your habits, I instantly can go, what am I habitually thinking today? Is it making me happy or unhappy? What am I doing today to bring joy into my life? What am I doing today to attract customers? Am I doing my habit of lead gen every day? And right then I can use that quote to shift my energy and start to take steps in a different direction. He says, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. This is a great reminder for me. Okay, am I moving in the direction of self-improvement? What are my habits? And so that's how I use my list. And I have, probably 20 quotes by him, just him alone, because he's awesome and has amazing quotes in his book. And so I'll just, as I'm reading a book, I'll have that author's name and I'll just put all the quotes I can think of. As I'm reading the book and I'm underlining things, then I'll pull those quotes and add them to this list, maybe at the end of the book or maybe throughout the book. It depends on, whether I want the computer by me when I'm reading a book. So that's a way to use your quote list to keep you inspired and use it as a reframe strategy. Another really simple one here is just to write down your quote of the week. I have a blackboard in my office, like a chalkboard that's small by this reading chair, and I just write either affirmantras on it or quotes that are inspiring me. And then I have a whiteboard where I'll do the same thing and I'll write a quote out there until I commit it to memory or until I've integrated it into my state of being, and then I'll erase it and do the next one. And so another thing you could do is put it on the wallpaper of your phone, because you pick up your phone hundreds of times a day. I can't remember the numbers in research, but it shows, I think it's like 600 times a day or something insane that we pick up our phones. And so if you just, create a little, you could take a picture, write it on a piece of paper, take a picture, put that as your screen share. That'd be the easiest way. You could create a really fancy, beautiful template in Canva and then do a new quote every week. These are just strategies to keep you inspired throughout your day, throughout your week, so that you can really program yourself and reframe your energy for law of attraction success, so that you can be magnetic to opportunities, to money, to clients, to a happy life that you love. It starts from within. And so these are ways to program your energy using quotes. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And until next time, I am sending you giant hugs and money magnet high fives.